In today's video, here is a nice problem regarding function equation. Here is a following application. We have for all f from R to R, for all x has a real number, satisfy this following equation. We get f of x plus number 1 equals x is multiplied by f of x. Okay? In fact, this is very nice and interesting problem. So you guys, you can give the hand source from previous session. Go ahead to this video when you come back to see first. Okay? By the way, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and support the channel, like, comment, subscribe. Now let's jump into the solution. So notice here, always dealing with this equation by replacing the obvious values in order to find some kind of relationship between those values in order to see which direction this function is going to take. Okay, now let's take a look at that. So I'm going to choose x equals 0 first. Okay, so x equals 0, so it's going to give us f of 0 plus number 1, which equals 0, implies f of 0, which equals minus number 1. Okay, it's more simple. So we found the first equation. Okay, let's name this equation as equation number 1. The second thing, I'm going to plug x equals f of 0. Okay, like this. Then I'm going to replace this value that I have chosen into the original setup. Okay, so I will have the f of 0, okay, plus number 1, which equals f of 0 is multiplied by f of 0, like this. Okay, then taking the equation number 1 and insert it back into each f of 0. Okay, so I will have the following. We'll have f of, this one will be replaced with minus number 1 plus number 1, which equals f of 0 is multiplied by minus number 1. Okay, let's put it like this. Then let's take this number 1 to the right, so I will have f of minus 1, then take this one back to the left, plus f of 0, which equals minus number 1. Okay, here is the equation number 2. Let's build another equation. Okay, at this time now we are going to replace x with minus number 1. Okay, then doing the same thing that I have done before, replacing this minus number 1 into x here. So I get f of minus 1 plus number 1, which equals minus f of minus 1. It's more simple. Okay, this is the equation number 3. Now let's build the equation number 4. So if you take a look up here, we get f of minus number 1, we get f of minus number 1. Okay, so what to do here, I'm going just replacing this term into this one. I will have the minus f of minus 1 minus number 1 plus f of 0, which equals minus number 1. Okay, so we'll have a nice simplification here. Minus number 1 is going to be cancelled out with this minus number 1. Then I will be ended with this following equation. So we get f of minus 1, which equals f of 0, because this minus number 1 with this minus, after you moving over to the right, minus number 1 minus sign, it will be cancelled out. So I will be ended with the fourth equation, equation number 4. Okay, now the next thing up, I'm going to replace x with f of minus number 1. So let's set x equals f of minus number 1. Okay, why I'm doing this one? Because I see here I have f of minus number 1 inside of this one. So if I'm going to replace this one, I will have a nice new equation. Okay, so taking this value of x and insert it back into the original equation. So I get here f of minus 1 plus number 1, which equals f of minus 1 is multiplied by f of minus 1. Okay, then If you take a look at the equation number 4, I get f of minus number 1 equals f of 0, which is going to be replaced here. Okay, this one is going to be replaced with f of 0. Also, this one is going to be replaced with f of 0. So I will have a nice reduction here. So I will have f of 0, which is this one, plus number 1, which equals f of minus 1 is multiplied by f of 0. Okay, then if we take a look again at the first equation, so we get f of 0 equals minus number 1, which is going to be replaced into this one here. Okay, so I get here the following. So I get minus number 1 plus number 1, which equals f of minus 1 is multiplied by f of 0. Okay, then the nice thing here, when we get number 1, it will be cancelled out with minus number 1. I will be left with a nice equation. F of minus 1 is multiplied by f of 0, which equals 0. Let's name this one as equation number 6. Okay, I'm going to take two cases. Okay, case number 1 and case number 2. So you may have f of 0 equals 0 or f of minus number 1 equals 0. I'm going to try the first one, f of 0. So we get f of 0 equals 0. Okay, let's box this one. Then I'm going to replace this one into either equation. Okay, so let's take this one to the equation number 2, because we get f of 0 here. So replacing f of 0 with 0. So I get here f of minus 1 plus 0, which equals minus number 1. Okay, so I have ended with f of minus number 1 equals minus number 1. Okay, now let's take this f of minus number 1, which equals minus number 1, and replace it into the third equation. Okay, so I get here the following. So we get f of minus number 1 plus number 1, which equals f of minus number 1, which equals minus number, which is becomes plus number 1. Okay, then cancelling out number 1 from both sides, I will be ended with f of minus number 1 equals 0. Okay, it's very nice here. I'm not done yet. I'm going to take f of minus number 1, which equals 0, and replace it into the second equation back again. So I will be left with f of 0, which equals minus number 1. Remember, f of 0, which equals minus number 1, also equals 0, as a true assumption that we have chosen before. Okay, which equals 0. It's clearly, it's a contradiction. It's impossible. Now this statement f of 0 equals 0 was false. Let's check the case number 2, which is f of minus number 1 equals 0. So let's take f of minus number 1 equals 0. Let's box this one to make it more clear. Now back again to the second equation. Okay, replacing f of minus number 1 with 0. So the second equation becomes f of 0, which equals minus number 1. Okay, remember, based on the first equation that we have chosen, remember we already found f of 0, it was minus number 1. It was the first equation. Okay, then taking this value of f of 0 and replace it back here. So I get here f of minus 1, which equals minus number 1. Okay, remember we already have f of minus number 1 equals 0. It's clearly, it's a contradiction. It's impossible. Okay, what we have contradicted? We have contradicted both cases. So this one is not valid. This one is not valid, which means we don't find any function equation which is satisfied this following equation. Okay, which means there is no function satisfied this statement. Okay, I have ended this video. If you have any question or suggestion, just put it in the comment section below. So by the way, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and support our channel. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next video. Bye.